My team focuses on partner tools and operations to streamline processes, improve efficiencies, and deliver high-quality customer service. I'm here today to talk to you about OnSite Wrap Up. Over the years, we've developed many beneficial features for the technician, whether it be for installation or for service. But the one thing we kept hearing over those years was consistency. How do I get each of my technicians to do exactly what I need them to do every single time? We wanted to develop a feature that will encourage the use of best practices, help deliver a consistent, efficient, and effective install or service visit, while also not increasing the time that a technician has to spend on a job. OnSite Wrap Up is an interactive checklist that allows a partner to outline the steps for a technician to follow. Custom actions allow a partner to configure it to suit the needs of their business, while the auto-validated actions allow the system to do the checking for the technician. For example, if a technician needs to run a full diagnostic check, once it's complete, we will verify that the results were successful and check the box automatically. Rather than relying on the technician to validate it by saying that they did it or told you that they performed the action, the system is checking it for you. With OnSite Wrap Up, the actions are also smart. They allow you to configure based on the customer. So with an upgrade to LTE action, that will only appear if the customer requires an upgrade to the LTE network. The actions are also useful from a back office perspective. People in the back office receive consolidated reports of the OnSite Wrap Up results to deliver a high-level overview of a technician's performance. The wrap-up results can also be sent back to an individual manager for quality assurance purposes. Finally, from a training perspective, the OnSite Wrap Up helps reinforce the trained material. You can give a presentation on Friday about the new referral program, add the action, and when a technician is on site on Monday, they see that action reminding them of the details, reminding them to explain it to the customer, and ensuring that the training has been reinforced. So let's take a look at the OnSite Wrap Up. Okay. Everybody can see my screen, I'm assuming? Excellent. So here I've got my customer brought up. And you can see the OnSite Wrap Up has already checked off all these different items for the technician. Some are things that we've verified that the customer has logged in. Some are things that the technician has already completed with the system check. And some are just things like stickers and yard signs that I've acknowledged that I've taken care of. If I go into the device notes and click on that, it gives me a description at the top. And I see that I've already added the panel. I can then add a general note about the router that we're using, which will help support in the future. Add the router. Click Save.
And Adam, we're at 3 minutes for presentation.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I'll just come back here and can I answer any questions?
So, Adam, it's Steve. Can we go back to full gallery view? Stop sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Thanks. You talked about reports. So can you explain how those reports get to a manager, and does this interface with any ERP?
So it doesn't interface with any ERP. The way that the reports get, one is through our WebExec platform, our BI platform. So you can run extensive reporting on that, and so the results can be exported from there. The other is the technician, when I wrap up the checklist, it will automatically send the results to a manager or an email that's on file, or I can also send a copy to somebody else. So if I'm a direct manager, I'm worried about a VIP customer that the technician is installing, I can make sure that they send the results directly to me, or I can look at the reporting when I get back to the office through our BI platform.
So follow up based on that answer. Do you envision a scenario where an ERP interface will be in the future?
We have had discussions on that. The hard part is just connecting to the various ERPs because our partners use a wide breadth of the different ones. But we have had those discussions in the future. With our BI platform, you can export the data and upload it into the ERP to check off, but we don't have any of the integrations today.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Adam, it's Robert Few. Kind of going down where Steve led to the ERP side, I'm concerned that you're creating this best practice in the field, which is what a lot of operations managers want and need, is to make sure that you've checked all these boxes. Without the API open on the other side, it feels like you're shifting some of that work. They, with companies that I advise, they're doing either an electronic Excel sheet, something manual in the field to make sure they've done, A through Z, and they're shipping it back. And although I like that this is integrated into the app that they're already using, they're using for training, so it's the next step. It goes through, here are your signs, here are your stickers, here's your referral stickers to refer your neighbors. But on the backside, it feels like it's still going to be a manual process for me to then take that into how I run my business, my ERP, whatever solution I'm using. But I do like that it's an automatic event, the next in line. We've done some of that in the past. What happens if it doesn't get checked?
Yeah. So and I do also want to follow up. So we don't have any push, but we do have pull APIs. So we do have web services where if a partner wants to bring in the information, they can do so. So some of our partners do have, as part of their back office check, like when they bring up a customer, it will verify when the last on-site wrap-up was complete. So we don't have any push out to the different ERPs, but anybody can configure it to pull in the information and verify the result. If a technician doesn't do this, part of that is on the operations of our partners. So, we provided all the tools to be able to provide the validations and things like that. But we are working with our partners to require, if there's one thing that you check from the alarm.com side after every single install or service, check the on-site wrap-up, invest in that and requiring it for your technicians. Since we aren't an ERP and we are a vendor, ultimately we need the partners to be able to enforce it. We can't close out a job and say that a job isn't closed. We need our partners to do that. But we are seeing our partners implement just that. So they would use the web services and say, technician wants to close out a job. They click the button. It checks to verify that the on-site wrap-up was completed. If it was, then they'll close out the job.
Is it possible to configure it by partner or whatever so that if it's not done, it won't allow the tech to close the job out, so they have to do it?
That's where the various partners can configure with their web services. So yes, they can do that and put that in. Basically, they do the tie-in to the closeout job button. That will basically run a check to verify that the on-site wrap-up was complete. If it was, then they can close it out. If it wasn't, then it'll throw an error. Each partner can configure whatever they want the next steps to be from that side.
What level of customization? Sorry, what level of customization can you do on the? You've got, sounds like, so you've got a walk test or what have you to say there's 60 or 15 or 8 zones, whatever they are, and you're doing that automatically. Say, okay, it was received. But what level of customization could a dealer do if checking a flood sensor, for example, means that you do something unique or different than just tripping the alarm? You want to have a 2 or 3 step thing where you're actually going to see that it's kicked off, the water shut off, or some other. Is it just out of the box? You just have to take what you've got now, or can I customize each one of the what you deem to be a completed step on the checklist?
So with the auto-validated actions, we're checking the system. So for instance, for the example that you gave, we would verify that all the signals went through, and that would be our validation for the sensor walk test. You can put in your description, hey, in addition to the alarm, I also want you to do this. But what I would recommend for that example would be, you can leverage our sensor walk test. If specifically for the flood sensor, you could create a custom action. And that one you can either choose to require the step to be acknowledged, or you can give them the option to skip it, depending on what the need is. So if you wanted them to follow certain steps, we can give you the ability to say, I want to acknowledge it, and you can add into your custom description and custom steps. But for the auto-validated one, those are the ones where we're verifying, we're checking. We do have some abilities to say, for example, for system check, maybe you just want to know that it was ran that day, but you don't necessarily need all the tests successful. We have some flexibility there. So each of the auto-validated ones, because we're checking the signals that are coming back from the system, they're a little bit tighter in terms of the controls, but the flexibility to add additional custom actions or update the descriptions with whatever you want them to follow is pretty robust.
And that's robust based on and it's unique, or if I start creating custom steps and I've got a particular panel that's being installed that, 17 of the custom things I created don't actually apply to this instance because there are no flood zones or there are no whatever else. Does the technician have to go through a huge laundry list of things that are not applicable?
No, so the custom actions allow you to filter so you could do it based on our service plans. And so you could say, for instance, like video, let's say that I want them to take a picture of do a Wi-Fi speed test and store that as a device note. That's a common one that our partners leverage. You can create that and say, this only applies to customers that have video. And so then the action will only appear and only show up for the technician if it has that add-on.
Great.
Adam, is this in market today?
This is.
And it was launched when?
It was launched earlier this year in Q2.
And how many dealers are using it?
So right now we have about 50 dealers testing it and really trying to operationalize it. The biggest thing here is we have a lot of interest in it, but it's more the steps to be able to actually get it from even creating the checklist. It's more rolling it out. It's how do we adjust the back office operations to be able to see who's doing what they're using. So we've got a lot of partners, large partners and small partners that are rolling it out. For the smaller partners, it's a little bit easier to just get their operations, obviously. But for the larger partners, it's more how do we get our training up to speed? How do we get our reporting up to speed? How do we implement the web services? So we expect by the end of this year to have pretty high adoption. But right now we're about 50, and that's a mix between small, medium, and large.
So as prominent as you guys are in the industry, as a software company, I'm sure you guys have thought about, okay, what's the next generation going to look like? Where do you go from here?
The auto-validated actions is one of the big ones. We want to continue to try to build that out. We are looking at tie-ins into ERP systems as a way to try to, again, close that loop. But ultimately, we want to eliminate that last call. If a technician has to call back to the office, we want to eliminate whatever those steps are. So lots in the auto-validated actions. We're also providing different checklists, so one for installation, one for service, so you can actually have different items in each one. And another area is we're looking at tweaks to adjust for the virtual landscape. What is sort of an on-site, off-site wrap-up to be able to ensure that the virtual checklist is followed.
What will you consider to be adoption success among your partner universe?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, personally, I would like for all of our partners to do it. I think that I've been coordinating with our sales and marketing teams, and we've been trying to figure out ways to get really this to be one of the highlights in every single presentation to a partner, because it collects all of our tools that we've developed. It has system check, device note, sensor walk test. Historically, it was a lot of work for a partner to say, how do I configure all these different things and get people to use them? If we can get everybody to just adopt OnSite Wrap Up, then it can suit the needs of the business while also being able to take advantage of a lot of things that they wanted to use. So we're really doing the drive that this is one of those like shooting for 100%. Obviously, that's going to take a while, but I think that the benefits of this and the flexibility to really suit the needs of the business is really what we're going to be pushing for.
Last 30 seconds.
If you play the guitar in the background in the last 30 seconds, you might be able to convince us to award you the prize.
You're assuming that I'm good on the guitar. So, it could have the opposite effect.
Yes.
Adam, thanks.
I'm good. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.